welcome back to another art time lapse. Today I'm doing a piece called Internal Strength and Courage. Now I really have been loving painting on these gray tone papers lately. I picked it up at my local art store, but I know they also have it at like big box art store like Michael's. So here with gray tone papers, I love how I can just focus on the shadow and highlights. Definitely requires me to think a little bit differently as opposed to painting on white paper. But for me, I actually really enjoy painting highlights and shadows. It's like part of my favorite parts, and my least favorite part is actually doing the mid-tone. So it kind of works out in my favor. So here, just slowing down to show you as I'm watering down my gouache with plenty of water and just adding where I foresee the light be glistening off this girl's face. And then adding in the shadows and the black parts as well. It's actually really therapeutic, and I like doing something like this different from the different types of anime fan art that I sometimes do. And I love the looseness of the colors, and it's just very therapeutic. Something about it makes it feel like less judgmental, because I feel like people know the anime pieces so well that if you do the characters like slightly differently, it's not true to the creator's intention. So I really like doing some of these loose watercolor gouache piece. So speeding things up, you see I'm adding shadows in the piece. I wanted this girl just to be like quiet, in silence, listening, feeling, and like just being absorbed in the moment. I'm planning on doing some ginkgo leaves on the side, and I know that ginkgo leaves in some form of symbolism represents courage and healing and internal strength, and that's why I've chosen that I'll be drawing some ginkgo leaves in the background for this girl. So you can see the pieces coming slowly together. Initially it's kind of like a blob with lots of like loose white watercolor, and at this point in the piece I think I spent at least maybe half an hour to 40 minutes on the piece, maybe even a little bit longer. It's hard for me to judge time when I'm painting. Sometimes I just get lost in the piece, which is a good sign in my opinion, that you enjoy the process so much that you get lost in time. But alternatively, being a mother of two little ones, I need to be more cognizant about being efficient and using every bit of like spare time that I get while they're napping. In this case, for this piece, I did have to separate it into several sittings before getting it finished. So here, just watering down my gouache a little bit for the black so you can see it's not like a pure black, it's like a darker gray. And then I want to do some loose hairs as well as use white gouache to do some abstract line work, which ultimately it will kind of diverge into these ginkgo leaves. I really like the idea of like floral and flower symbolism. I'm not a florist or by any means a good plant mother in any way. I'm horrible with plants. I think the only plants we have in our home are snake plants, and that's because they are more enduring and like don't require that much work. But even then I think they are struggling to survive in my home. But I really love plants. I love the symbolism, the idea behind it. I love like looking at greenery, but simply just can't seem to grow them. So in this case I try to integrate it into my artwork so I get to enjoy it when I hang a piece in my own personal space. And same thing for when I'm gifting artwork, or like if patrons or clients are purchasing my artwork, I hope that it will create more airiness to their space by having artwork of plants, especially for those of us who don't have the green thumb, the gift to nurse and take care of healthy plants. I think it's an acquired skill, but with like work and dedication and some research and practice, I think anyone can do it. It's just I just haven't had the intuition or like the motivation to try it personally. At least that's not my number one priority at this moment, just focusing more on my artwork, at least for the moment. So for this part, I'm using a really fine tip round brush to do the details for the ginkgo leaves. I start off with the middle branch and then slowly diverge. Now I'm using my Sakura jelly roll this time I'm using this metallic gold, which I love, to add like a little bit of glistening to the piece. I love that it adds a little bit of detail so that when you're looking at the piece, depending on the angle that you're looking at it, you can get like a different perspective, like a different way of looking at the beauty that there is in this world. It just kind of reminds me of like you can't always look at things in one way. Sometimes it helps for you to look at a different angle to see the beauty within. So this metallic gold ink that I picked up at Sakura Jelly Roll, it's actually available on Amazon, as well as like Staples and a lot of stationery and art store as well. I've tried a lot of metallic gold jelly rolls, and despite trying all these different colors, I still go back to Sakura. I really like the type of gold that they have. It's like not super shiny, but it's not super dull. It's like a classic antique gold. And I love doing the trial of it. Like trying all these different types of stationery is a little hobby of mine. So I'm just adding in the details for the ginkgo leaves. I think I'm almost wrapped up here. But thank you so much for joining me on this piece as I talk about the background for the pieces, how I go from scratch to the final piece, and the rationalization on how I go about deciding on the colors and adding the details. And here is how the final piece looked like. What do you think? Is this what you expected when you first started the video? I certainly don't have a good idea of where the piece will go at the end when I start, but I think I like how it ended. So thank you for joining me on this art time lapse of internal strength and courage. And I'll see you next time in another art time lapse. Stay safe and stay creative, everyone. Bye for now.